Welcome to all our guests with us this afternoon, and especially thank you for those around my table. We have different panels today. This is the first panel, and in this panel we want to talk about how the customer mindset is really shifting. I don't have to tell you that customers are becoming much more vocal, and they expect to communicate in their preferred manner, obviously. On the other hand, we have much more complex products, much more complex offerings, so challenges ahead. Also, let's not forget, we have the energy transition we also want to keep in mind. So where do we put that customer? Let me first welcome my different guests. Christopher Klaas is a solution architect at Ferranti, working on the overall solution architecture for several utility customers. Correct?
Yes.
Welcome. Great.
Thank you.
Sharon Wilson, next to him, also project manager at Ferranti, and you are managing customers like Corona, I've been told, in the UK.
Yes.
So welcome to you. Peter Verboven, you're co-founder of TAG. Erling Viggenson in the middle there, head of digital solutions at Orcus Solon, an Icelandic energy utility company. You've come a long way.
I have, with several delays, but we
You made it.
Yeah,
yes.
we've been late.
Cybersecurity these days is giving us a certain challenge. We also have Johannes Vermeijeren, the CEO of POM Belgium, and of course also Gaia. Welcome to all of you. And I'm going to be a bit mean maybe and not ask the people of Ferranti to introduce them more than what I've done so far, but let me maybe give the time to all the others to briefly tell me who they are and what you're working on. So go ahead, Peter.
All right. Thank you for having me on this panel. So my name is Peter Verboven. I'm founder and managing partner at TAG. We're a management consulting firm. I'm a career consultant. I've spent 2 decades already working on large-scale transformations, mainly in the utility sector.
Okay, thank you. Maybe Gaia, go ahead. We heard you on the main stage this morning, but for those who were not there, maybe introduce yourself.
I'm Gaia Galati, and I'm a research director at IDC, specifically in the business unit Energy Insights, which has a vertical specific focus on utilities and oil and gas companies. And essentially, our company looks at how utilities and oil and gas companies, in our case, leverage different types of technologies to, of course, improve operations, but especially to innovate and see how these technologies can support what's to come with the energy transition.
Okay. Erling, am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Sure.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so my name is Erling.
Erling,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm a CIO at Orcus Solon. Orcus Solon is an electricity supplier in Iceland, but we also run about 4 or 5 hydropower plants.
Okay.
And we are currently in the process of resolving our legacy issues by migrating MECOMs from running on AX 2012 to the cloud. Very early steps, but it's probably the biggest challenge we've
had so
faced.
far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, not in terms that it's hard or especially challenging. It's just the size of the project.
Okay, with many people involved, probably. Or
Yes.
Okay.
Partnering with Advania in Iceland and Ferranti.
Okay. Well, thank you, Johannes. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for being here. So Johannes Vermeijeren, I'm the co-founder and CEO of POM. With POM, we deliver services to cover the invoice-to-cash process, so meaning that we pick up invoice data, we'll generate invoices, we'll add payment tools on it, and we'll also do deliver services to do the follow-up of the payment of those invoices. We do that now for about 3,200 customers, going from governmental institutions to large corporates, a lot of utility companies, but also for schools, hospitals, and sports groups.
Mm-hmm. And only in Belgium or also abroad?
As a company, we're part of a group since December 22, so we do it in Belgium, the Netherlands, and Germany at this point in time.
Okay. Well, Gaia, I have a first question for you. Energy transition costs, they are getting higher. Supply security issues are more and more present. I think we also see that the prices are very volatile. What would then for you be the number one concern for customers all over Europe?
Yeah, so I think right now the biggest concern for customers, and we run a global energy consumer survey every other year, so we have some indication. The biggest pain point for them right now is affordability, and it's strongly related to the volatility of the unpredictability, since we've talked about that a lot today, of energy prices and how these are going to then be translated into the energy bills. And I think that the energy crisis of 2022, for the right reasons, scared a lot of customers because really prices and energy costs went off the charts in comparison to what had happened in the past, which spurred a lot of customers to look for what we called fixed pricing for the energy component of the energy bill. Because the fixed pricing element gave them a sense of security. But at the same time, the problem with fixed pricing with the energy component is that it kind of goes against what we need for the energy transition, because with the energy transition, you want dynamic pricing to really be a trigger to people to use energy when it's more available and costs less, rather than just having a monotonous energy consumption. But yeah, I think affordability would be right now the number one concern for customers.
Peter, I think we can also say that very often we are on different platforms. There is the behind-the-meter service that needs to be ensured. How can we make sure that for customers everything is comprehensible, remains simple and intuitive instead of being too complicated to understand?
Yeah, well, it's a very good question. I think I would refer to the layer cake that we already saw today. So if we're only scratching the surface, my advice to my customer is always like, look, if you talk about customer experience, you might want to think about your customer first. And it may seem like a trivial and banal suggestion, but often they forget about it. It's not very easy. And especially if you go for behind-the-meter services, typically what you see is that a lot of these companies don't have the dynamic capability of launching them themselves, and through mergers and acquisition, they would buy another company supplying that kind of service. And they would half integrate that, that specific behind-the-meter service with their current offering. So typically what you see is that the customer would get 2 or 3 apps for their specific needs. And in that case, actually, as a supplier, you're just not doing a great job at building a one-stop shop, because you're actually bundling a portfolio of suppliers towards your customer. So basically, by trying to deliver more services and integrate them, you actually split up and make it even more complex. So my advice to those customers is like, go easy, take it easy. It's not that you don't want to innovate, but there's always a balance between speed and quality, and don't go too fast with integrating those new services. And if you let them stand alone for too long, your customers will, they will just go away.
Do you agree, Johannes? What do you think on a point of IT services that need to be integrated?
Yeah, and our business, let's say, is more in the part of the invoicing and the communications towards the customer. But there I follow what Peter says. So you need to be able to take away the complexity from your user, from your consumer. And which means that you have to follow the consumer in first of all, the channels of communication that he or she already has or is using. But also, and typically an invoice is a typical thing. You have a monthly communication with your customers, so you can give a lot of information on the invoice. I mean, that's your primary tool of communication, you could say. So, in a sense, you have to take away that complexity from the consumer. But then again, that gives more complexity towards the company, because the company needs to support. Well, in the old days, we could say there was a paper invoice and that was it. And one size fits all. No, this doesn't apply anymore. Email is already, of course, since many years a standard as well, but then we see other things coming as well. Seeing, for instance, a PEPAL coming, we see an e-box coming, seeing even for the youngsters, we see social media, WhatsApp coming. So the number of communication channels you have to use in order to reach all your customers has increased a lot. And the same thing is that you will not take the same tone of voice towards, let's say, a 56 years old person like me, compared to what you will send to my son of 25. So the way you communicate to those to those customers is going to be different. It's going to be very, very individualized. And I mean, this is more complexity for utility. But again, that's where we step in, of course, to take away that complexity. So we can deliver the services in order to you to be able to, well, send an invoice even personalized on that specific person without the additional work for you as a company. But yeah, and again, that's where players like we come in.
Sharon, obviously, at Ferranti, you are working on different kinds of innovations. Could you share with us what you're working on in this specific area?
Yes, so I think something that's been touched on from our product manager already this morning, we've come quite a long way from the days of just having a back-end billing system. So that's just not really enough anymore. So we've spent a lot of time in the past years to make some improvements, make some big adjustments. So things like being able to cope with dynamic pricing, which Guy mentioned is becoming more and more popular. Now we have our own pricing and quotation engine. We've also separated out our meter data management into the standalone Meterverse, working with a lot of DGOs, and now with the big push for smart meters that's rolling out, it's inevitable, it's everywhere. Being able to have something that we can offer that holds that large amount of data without necessarily having a billing system that goes along with it that you might not necessarily need. So those are a few of the different things that we've been busy with. A couple of the other things like an internal assistant to help our colleagues run their projects. But ultimately that could become rolled out to also our customers, that they can embed some chatbot to see hints and tips how to use MECOMs. And if it's a bit more interesting, you can also see something in the tech lounges about it.
Yes, definitely have to go check that out, obviously. Christopher, do you have the feeling that all your customers are really interested in the energy shift, or are some of the customers still thinking, whatever, energy shift?
I think it's twofold. If you look at the end consumer, I think on the one hand side, you've got all these people who love new things, they love the new technology, they're very interested in everything from EVs to batteries, solar panels, and all the different product offerings, especially if it can save them a little bit. On the other hand, and I think that's actually the largest portion of people, I think you're stuck with people who, above all, value, first of all, that predictability that Guy was talking about, but on the other hand, also the convenience. There's a lot of people out there that think, well, actually, I don't want somebody, whether that's my supplier or anyone else, dictating when I should be putting on my washing machine, for example. I don't want them to tell me when to charge my EV. And maybe it costs me a little bit more, but I want that predictability. So I think there's still a huge market for the fixed contracts, even if they, in the end, they cost a little bit more, or the yearly variable contracts, because that's the kind of contracts that these kind of people are on. Even if I look at myself, I mean, I love technology, I love all things new, and yeah, I'm still that guy that actually says, well, it's convenient to me now to turn on my washing machine, so I'm going to turn it on now, whether I've got solar power being produced or not at that moment. It's my convenience because I've got time now, and we're all lacking time. So I think, yeah, don't forget about those people. I think so. Whilst at the same time, of course, things like dynamic pricing, I think it's an absolute must-have. But
so in a way, in the sales talk, people are very interested, thinking, oh, I will be able to do so many things. But in the day-to-day, what you are feeling is that people are more like, okay, I have all the convenience, but let's just keep on doing it like we did it yesterday. So we have to have this mind shift maybe for the end consumer, where there's maybe also a role to play. A role to play, Erling, for brands. How important will it be if you want to be top of mind as a brand? Will we have to communicate differently?
Yeah. In our reality in Iceland, our reality is a little bit different because we are an island and we produce our own electricity and we are not connected to the Europe's main grid. So the price surges Gaia mentioned, we haven't seen them, the surges in that magnitude in Iceland, and we're actually competing at very low margins between other suppliers. A kilowatt hour in Iceland on the supplier side goes for about 7 euro cents. And then you have competitors that are going for, 7.2. But the fact of the matter is, someone calls up a customer and they will actually turn around and they will switch suppliers easily. and that's only based on price.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we have to connect to the customer on a different level, have them identify with a brand in another way than that only reflects pricing. Mm-hmm. And this is something we've been working on, and I'm pleased to say that we were nominated as the best challenger brand at the Charge Awards last year, and that's just that's where it's mostly marketing work that goes into that, into presenting your brand and having the customer identify with a brand, so that if there is another opportunity, there should be something.
Stay.
Yeah, there should be something other holding you back than just the 0.2 cents that you're gonna save per kilowatt hour. And so that's something we've put a lot of work into, and feel we are getting some rewards from that.
Okay, well that's good. So you have to invest first to be able to stay top of mind. You wanted to react?
I just mentioned that the minimum price in Belgium is about 25 cents for a kilowatt hour, so you're lucky.
Yeah, very
I mean, at least
Not too bad.
Right. And
We'll buy your brand.
That's actually something. No, I was just going to say that that's also something that comes into play with the smart meters being rolled out in Iceland. Because even then, well, the areas that are most affected there are those that use electricity for heating. Predominantly, we use geothermal energy for heating. But there are areas where we have electricity for heating.
Okay.
And those people are going to feel a little bit negatively affected by the installation of smart meters, because they're going to see larger fluctuations in their electricity bills. Unfortunately, December is going to be the most expensive month. But that's again where we can turn to the dynamic pricing and tariffs to perhaps combat that for people that might want to have a fixed price for the entire year, like they did.
Is it not becoming, Sharon, too complex, the market? If we hear all this, for you people in this sector, obviously it's new things, it's nice, but for the end customer, is it not becoming very complex sometimes?
In my opinion, yes. I think it's maybe sometimes it feels like it's going too far, but I think that's about the volatile landscape that we're living in now. Things happen outside of our control that drive energy prices up. There's a big push on global warming, the push for net zero. There's so many different things happening, solar panels, the rollout of EVs. I'm one of those people who just wants to pay the same every month. I can't charge my car at home. I don't have solar panels. And for technology companies, of course, we must keep making changes to keep up with everything, but those can't happen overnight. They don't happen for free. Utility companies also feel that they have software. They have to make changes to keep up to date with things. So I think it's, but I mean, I think it keeps us all collectively in a job for now until AI takes over.
I heard that AI will not take over this morning, so don't be
I did hear a very good quote. You can't AI everything, so I think we're okay for a couple of years.
I was actually going to comment on what Ferranti mentioned. I think that one of what we've seen internationally is that the best way to prevent people from having a negative experience when they experience this price fluctuation is to really get ahead of it and, forgive me the term, but educate your customers as to what's to come. So letting them know in advance, we're going towards the winter season. Obviously, temperatures are going to be decreasing, so your bills are going to be higher, and then provide them some concrete recommendations as much as possible, considering it will be cold in Iceland in December, as to little small things they can do to actually help prevent the electricity bill from really going off the charts. And they really appreciate that, because it does continue to build on the customer trust and customer loyalty, which coming out of COVID, utility companies across the world had done a very good job of. And then unfortunately, because of the energy crisis in 2022, especially here in Europe, we saw a downfall, a little bit of that customer trust and loyalty. But it has been something that utility companies have been working on for a number of years.
Peter, we hear that we have to communicate a lot, we have to have more touch points with the customer, meaning that it's more time-consuming, we have to put people on it, means it's gonna become more expensive. Is it getting too expensive, that we think too much of the customer experience, or will it pay back in a certain way?
So many inputs from the panel, so I'm trying to process all of it to one big holistic response. But I think we shouldn't look at customer experience from a cost point of view. We should look at it as an investment. Because actually, I really hear what you say, because electricity is a commodity. It's non-tangible, so you actually don't know where it comes from. So it's very hard as a brand, to become something, which customers are aware of. So of course you can do a lot with brand premium by increasing your marketing spend, et cetera, But the only thing that really bonds your customer is the customer touch points that you build, and that's actually the customer experience, the customer journey. So for me, it's not about, it's not just the cost, it's the investment that you make. But at the same time, I would like to refer back to Guy's comment. We've done quite a few of these projects with it's the so-called bill shock, in which winter time. The thing is, you can communicate too much. You have to keep it simple. There are people that will not appreciate it, even though you communicate the truth and we say you have to watch out, etc. And there are other players in the market that will take advantage of this as well. What we've seen at previous customers, that even though you launch a specific campaign that will prevent, warn them and say, well, we're going to increase the advance bill, etc. Other players will actively try to get that customer away from you by offering them lower advance fees and basically, turning your communication plan against you. So it's always a good balance between what is the strategy of having a good and open interaction with my customer, and at the same time not being too fragile on the market, because there's such a thing as communicating too much.
Okay, very clear. Christopher, if we talk about dynamic pricing and the things you're working on, the recent product evolutions at Ferranti, how can they then support these new business models that we see now the last months and years coming up?
I think with dynamic pricing, it's a very interesting one, because you're effectively searching for that win-win situation. You've got your suppliers, your grid operators, who, because it's inherently part of that product, the dynamic pricing, you'll see that you create more grid stability. It's again more predictability, and it's also a win on the customer side, because if they play the game right, then they'll obviously be saving costs. Consume when it's best to consume, produce when it's best to produce. And I think at Ferranti, we're looking to, first of all, obviously offer the product, but at the same time, keep it simple. That same message we're hearing over and over about keeping it simple towards your end consumers, because in the end, with dynamic pricing, you have a lot of data available, but it's understanding that data and making that data available to these customers. And these customers, they're typically, as we said, those are the people that are really interested in these kind of products, that also follow up their consumption, production. And I think with what we're creating for dynamic pricing, that visibility of that data, to be able to simplify that to your end user, whether that's providing prices at daily levels, monthly levels, or whether it's providing that consumption, production, but in easy, tangible components to that customer, I think that's key. Because it's a complex product, but in the end, the only way that the end consumer is going to buy into that product is if they understand the product. And that's what we're trying to achieve.
So Erling, if I'm not mistaken, what has been said around the table is like, okay, we have to communicate, but we have to be careful not to communicate too much and information which is not relevant. So it's actually about the quality of the communication. How can we improve the quality of the communication with our end customers?
Well, one of the big advantages we're looking forward to in when we're moving MiComs to the cloud is getting more tools to connect the communication channels to the business events happening in the system. Some of the challenges that we've had in our operations, or we have in our operations today, is, for example, the onboarding process has a delay time, or it has there's a waiting time when you switch suppliers. That's something that it can be anywhere between 3 to 7 weeks. It could be the next turn of the month, or this turn of the month, or the next. And that's something we're having trouble communicating to our customers. And then we have the same thing goes for tariff changes. If you change a product or something, it usually takes effect at the turn of the month, and that's something we would like to be able to communicate at the right time when it happens. So there's that, and then we've also talked about, or we're looking forward to the option or the possibility of delivering notifications or messages in relation to what we talked about earlier about any anomalies, or if you're using more energy than usually, we could prompt you with that before you actually get the invoice when it becomes a contentious issue and a negative customer experience.
Yes.
So these are like probably the main points we're very concerned, or we're very focused on when we're moving to the cloud, and to want to improve on these.
Gaia, and do we not have more and more younger people that are also deciding on who I will work with for my energy, knowing that, or that's what we say, they are much more climate conscious? Is that something that we need to take into account in our communication and customer experience?
Yeah, I think for sure. The utilities' traditional customer base is obviously changing like everybody else's, and we are going to see the lion's share of the customer base becoming significantly younger, made up of a generation that is certainly more climate change aware and conscious, that is digital native, if not close to that, that is used to having a customer experience that is that they can draw parallels in their customer experience with Amazon and, I don't know, buying a pair of shoes with their energy supplier, which is actually a good thing, because these customers actually start with a plain slate, unlike previous generations, which have always, or have had for many decades, a negative perception of utilities, or a more negative perception of utilities. We find that younger generations tend to have more positive inclinations, so we really want to build on that and provide them a customer experience that empowers them to have available tools that make them more participatory in the energy transition.
Johannes, you're obviously in different types of business. We talk a lot about this difference between younger people, generation, whatever, and the other generation. Is it smart to talk that much about the difference in generations, or should we not overkill the communication and the adaptation on that part?
No, on the contrary, I would say, well, there's one common denominator, I think, for all the generations, and the fact is people want to have convenience. And we started the company based on a study that we have read, and it was a study about school bills being paid late.
Okay.
The number one reason why school invoices were paid late, 50% of the invoices being paid late, was the fact that people opposed to the administration around it. Actually, the paying, it takes work. So that's the reason why we started with POM. We said, okay, we're gonna take away all the hurdles in that payment process, and then hence people will pay easier, more on time. And actually it became true. That's why we're working for more than 3,000 companies. So convenience is important for everybody, but the way you're going to give that convenience will be different from generation to generation. I mean, all the people will probably want to receive paper as they always had, so they will receive a paper invoice. You go to email invoices, and even younger people, as I said, maybe want to receive their invoice through WhatsApp. And also the message you put in it, how you're going to explain it. You have to change the way how you even communicate about your bill, but also how we communicate within your bill, according to the different generations. And that is important. But that should, and it's logical.
So we have to keep that very much in mind, that there is a different channel for different generations.
There is a different channel for different generations, but one common denominator is it has to go very smoothly.
Smoothly for everyone. And smoothly for everyone is...
QR code on a paper invoice, for instance, to help you paying, and you get a WhatsApp link and you click on it and pay it if you're 25.
Peter, you wanted to react?
Yeah, no, I fully agree. It's what we call hassle-free, right? It needs to be frictionless, etc. However, I was wondering, do you think that actually, because we talked about affordability, what I see at my customers is that, even though we try to launch green products, etc., there's no real willingness to pay, because affordability versus the true green product. I've worked a lot with these suppliers that launch their products and say, okay, we're going to be green, etc. And the more you go for it, if you want to do it properly, if you want to really do it, not just not greenwash it, it will cost you money.
Yes.
And it means the consumer has to pay for it. So we saw that, even though we tried really hard with marketing campaigns, etc., the moral high ground that people would like to take really decimates when you start asking a price for it. So that's what we saw. So affordability was key, and then pricing was key, especially in the commodities markets. You mentioned from 7 to 7.2. Well, that's what we saw as well with the green products, that, even though you can really highlight them, people will choose the gray product any day. So how do you see that?
Well, actually, I completely agree with you. And I think that's partially because we're still riding the wave of the 2022 energy crisis. Because before the energy 2022 crisis, the previous survey of this energy consumer survey we did see a lot more, especially among the younger generations, willingness to pay a small premium price to make sure their energy was clean. Then if you can really guarantee it is one thing, if it's being greenwashed, it's another. But there was this willingness to pay, I don't know, €1 or €2 extra a month to make sure that their energy was clean. Obviously, this got decimated with the energy crisis of 2022 that objectively, for right reasons, scared a lot of people. So I think the affordability angle is going to still be very present for a couple of years.
Let's maybe, Peter, touch upon AI. Is AI going to help us, or is it going...
I got the AI question.
Yes. Question.
To start about a new topic today, AI.
Yes, I thought let's talk about AI.
Let's talk about AI. That's good. Thank you.
Good idea, no?
I think, yes, it's going to help us. I think we've seen a lot of the wonderful things that AI can do, and it can assist it with the customer experience. And nowadays, mostly it's based on efficiency gains, right? It's all about being more efficient. It's about being able to, like you said, it's really targeting the audience with the right kind of communication, with the right kind of tooling. It's the 24/7 availability. So it's all about the efficiency and the speed and availability. So I think there's really a lot of gains to be found there. What I find interesting as well is if we take it one step further and we go for effectiveness, because we talked about the complex products like dynamic pricing. I have tried maybe 100 times to explain this to colleagues, to people that are not working in the utility sector. They're like, after a while, it's like, we don't care. We don't understand. We don't care anymore.
Yeah.
But maybe, I see the market for an agent. If you're as a supplier, you have a specific agent that knows your context as a household, that knows specifically how you are using your tools, what your preferences are, and they could really help you as your personalized energy consultant. I see a lot of value add there for AI. This is really where I would see the future, because the complexity is becoming bigger and bigger, and we can try to keep it simple. But if I look at the modern household and the modern house today, it's a very complex technical installation with solar panels, with a charger, with a battery pack, with an EMS system, with just the smart meter, etc. And it's all integrated through different apps and different portals. So this could really help. Like the Copilot is the unique dashboard. You need some kind of unique dashboard for a family or a household, which they can use. Okay, how can we optimize within the comfort settings that we appreciate? I think there is a future. Yeah.
Sharon, can the integrated platforms of Microsoft help in this case? Or?
Yes, and I think it's back to AI because the thought of having a sort of personalised service is a wonderful concept, but a call centre has a finite number of people working there, and you don't necessarily know someone's generation or someone's habits when you pick up the phone. I've done my time in an energy call centre after school, and you're a bit of a chameleon because as soon as they start speaking, you think, oh, OK, this person's angry, or this is an older person. So you have to adapt a little bit. So you've kind of got to rely on that human touch. But if you really want to give a real personalised service, you just won't have the manpower to do it. So it is going to have to look into things like Copilot, chatbots, to bring that.
You wanted to react, I think?
Yeah, I was going to say something piggybacking on what Peter said, is that we're actually seeing one of the most effective uses of AI and actually automation as well in business processes that utilities didn't even have to think about 10 years ago. For instance, grid connection requests for solar panels, electric vehicles. 10 years ago, this was very marginal, and we're seeing companies that have 400,000 requests to get this done, and they don't have the resources, they don't have the tools, they don't have the processes, they don't have anything. And so by leveraging technologies like automation and AI, they're able to very quickly solve some of these issues that have appeared on their table that 10 years ago didn't exist. And so that's another excellent use case of AI.
Christopher, yeah, indeed, we can talk about the consumer, but obviously there's also all the employees at the supplier side, like you mentioned. Can we empower them more than they do now? Can AI and other tools help them?
Exactly, I think, and I think we have to help them because customers are becoming more demanding, and as we've established, no two customers are the same. You've got such diversity of customers, whether it's age-wise or whatever it is. Yeah, as an agent working, so as a customer service agent working in that industry, indeed, as Sharon says, you need to know who are you talking to and what kind of information do they want. And we're living in a huge, fast-paced world. People want the information now. They don't want to wait even 5 minutes for that information. They want it now. And I think that's indeed, and I'm going to pull that AI card again, because I think indeed with things like Copilot integration, that's obviously a massive help to immediately get the information that's required to help that customer. And at the same time, I think not only the AI side, I think it's making sure that you have all of the data at hand. And I think if we then look at, Bruce, you've got the things like flow logic and so on, that's giving you that information immediately so that you can reply to that customer who's expecting that immediate response. And yeah, of course, you can't do any of this at that kind of speed without some help. And I think that's indeed, AI is key. I don't think you can,
Erling, is it something that you use? You say, okay, you believe, I think, in the different touch points with the customer, give them information, try to find the right moment, not too early, not too much, good quality. Is that something that you already think of as AI helping you to do a good job there?
Well, if there's one thing that I would like AI to do,
Oh, yes.
then it's explaining invoices to customers. That'd be a very nice addition.
Very convenient.
Yeah, our service desk spend probably about 50 or 60% of their time just reviewing invoices with customers and explaining what all these lines mean. But on the topic of demanding customers, or customers being demanding, and their preferences, like you mentioned with, communication channels. If they want to use WhatsApp, we really should
use it.
We really should accommodate that. We also, then you have, like a normal online chat on our website. We have our website as well. We have the customer portal. The invoices are also a touch point for communication. And so it really becomes our problem, our challenge and complexity in implementing solutions on our end to facilitate the way that customers would like to use our services. And then if we don't meet those requests, all goes back to someone getting a phone call and getting an offer to switch suppliers. And if they feel like we are falling short on our services or contact points, that could mean we lose a customer.
So very importantly is not to forget that, because price is one thing, but the experience becomes much more important, although we don't want to pay more because it's greener or more convenient. Customers see that AI helps us in different parts of our life, so it should also help us in using the energy. Gaia, do you see before we close this discussion, other opportunities for platforms and AI helping us on both sides, customer side and those to inform the customer?
Yeah, for sure. I think there's always this pendulum in companies' buying approaches. They swing from one side to the other. So I think a decade ago, we were really focused on best-of-breed solutions. And then slowly it was like, oh my gosh, the integration of these best-of-breed solutions is a nightmare. So we're swinging back, and I think AI has really given a push towards a more platform-based approach to purchasing approaches, especially in utilities. And I think that's kind of spurred off of what happened with COVID, because we saw large investments during COVID towards customer experience management solutions and improving customer experience and customer engagement. And as utilities scaled up these new implementations, they realized that the full potential was strongly limited by their legacy CIS and billing solutions. And so then they had to rethink their CIS and billing solutions, which is a nightmare, as we know. And so how to make all of these systems have a more platform-based approach, which eliminates the data silos, which then unleashes the AI, I think is definitely something that we're seeing a lot of utilities thinking about, prioritizing, and trying to make the right investments for. So, yeah.
Maybe you have other last tips for all the people around the table in utilities, you being in utilities and much more. Any other tips we can take from you if we talk about customer experience that you did not yet give us?
Well, actually, all other sectors are confronted with similar issues. Yes. Not all the invoices are so complex, though. Although we also work a lot for hospitals, I can assure that those
not that easy either. Yes,
those invoices are even more complex. One of the things as well is try to also, and this also gives trust towards the payer. The customer is actually trying to harmonize the way that things are being paid. And just an example of what we're doing in Belgium is actually apart from sending the invoice, we also send the payment request directly. In Belgium, we got a tool called Payconic. And it's delivered directly in there. And then there you have the overview of everything you need to pay. And it's really just click and pay.
Yes.
And it helps because it gives trust, because it's in a trusted environment.
Yes.
And the way you work with it, the way you handle it is the same for all for your hospital and for your energy company.
Yeah, so let's not forget about trust, indeed.
Yeah, trust
that is very, if your customer trusts you, you want to keep him, and different touch points probably, but keep that trust very high. Well, I knew I was gonna be able to trust all 6 of you around this table, and you did a great job. So thank you to all 6 of you for sharing all the knowledge, or at least the one we could share in this 45 minutes. We have a little present for you. You will get that when you leave the table, and good luck with the AI and other agents around you. Give them an applause, please.
Thank you.